Welcome everyone to our session about VWEC, the Virtual Worlds Education Consortium. And for those of you that are new to the consortium, VWEC began in January 2021 through meeting quarterly in January, April, July, and October. Educators, learners, and educational communities can collaborate and document progress on best practices for teaching and learning in virtual environments. The goal of the VWEC, the Virtual Worlds Education Consortium, is to bring educators together, both to share what has been successful and to tackle obstacles across virtual platforms and communities, with the support of Second Life Linden Labs. We have now been working with Midori Linden to develop a new educational grid right here in Second Life. Educational communities can move closer together to better network, share what they are doing, and demonstrate best practices for newcomers. We are striving hard not to keep reinventing the wheel, but to showcase the great work that has been accomplished. Our meetings are archived on the Community Virtual Library website, communityvirtuallibrary.org. Notice the link on the menu which shares the chat logs and pictures from our past meetings. A huge thank you goes out to our builder, Brian Lonsway, Actuality, who is a professor of architecture, and the diverse team who worked on developing the VWEC Welcome Plaza, and developing plans for the VWEC Eduverse regions. VWEC includes anyone interested in learning in virtual worlds, both formal and informal educators, students, subject experts, or lifelong learners. We have a meeting coming up this week on Wednesday, April 6th at 9 a.m. Discussing collaboration across the metaverse today, our panelists will share the compass points east, west, north, and south. I'll hand the mic first to Sheila to start with East. What is exciting? The future of education with support of Linden Labs is exciting. Sheila?
Thank you, Val. As soon as I entered Second Life on the 3rd of May 2007, I was seized by excitement. So excited that I avatar blogged about it obsessively to begin with, and this is my first post, which has been put into chat. I've a pretty full life all around, so I'm not some sad person that needs to escape, but I still get this tingle of excitement when I see the initializing world message as I look into Second Life. But I found the main challenge as an educator has been helping other learners and educators get the same buzz out of virtual worlds that I do. I think that 2022 should be the year for bringing this excitement to more educators and learners, and the Virtual Worlds Education Consortium is an important part of that. These are some key factors I think should help build excitement and retention for education in virtual worlds. I'll look firstly at the wider conditions that mean there are more people to enter virtual worlds. Then I'll look at the opportunities created by the consortium. Firstly, there's the greater awareness and practice of education online. I think that means there's a wider pool of educators who've realised that teaching online can be liberating, inclusive and constructive, and are ready to go further. Then there's the hype about the Metaverse, which is a great hook to latch onto to start conversations. Thirdly, because of COVID lockdown, there are more people set up to go online at home and at work. Also, the statistics show more and more people are computer gaming. It becomes more, and as that happens, it becomes more likely that people like me will have a gaming laptop that's better able to cope with the demands of a virtual world such as Second Life. Those are some of the reasons why I think it's easier to start that conversation and get people excited about stepping into virtual worlds. Then, what are the things that can help trigger excitement and engagement once educators have taken that next step? Firstly, the active engagement of Linden Labs with more positive support than we've had for years and willingness to listen and take action. Secondly, the way in which educational communities in virtual worlds are working together better than ever before. That's in my view, and as I've said, I've been in virtual worlds since 2007. This improved communication makes it easier for newcomers to find their homes and to get support. Thirdly, a neighbourhood of educational regions with the new grouping together of education-related organisations so that a new educator can get a better overview of what's already there, making it easier to explore and connect. Fourthly, this new neighbourhood and the creation of an educators' hub at its centre should lead to it being easier to identify educators in the world. Thus, people who want to meet other people for support, advice, collaboration, or just venting can do that more easily. Those of us familiar with virtual worlds refer to green dots, the marker for a human avatar on the virtual world map. See the green dots and find your new friends. Altogether, I think these are exciting times, created both by events in the wider world and efforts by education leaders in the world, forming the Virtual Worlds Education Consortium. Now, having given that positive view, I'll hand over to Liz at Compass Point West to talk about what is worrisome.
Thanks. Thank you, Sheila. So I joined the VWEC in January 2021 as someone representing lifelong learners, or people, or someone who has lifelong learners as my audience. The VWEC goal of bringing educators of all kinds together for our common benefit has already produced a lot of exciting changes here in Second Life. There truly is strength in numbers. As I've been attending sessions in this conference that asked educators what they would like to see here in SL, I keep hearing some common concerns. Some complain that their educational institutions do not support teaching in virtual environments on any large scale. Oh, I think I'm a little behind you, Val. Some worry that I'm reading off the note card. Some worry that all kinds of sexy new platforms using AR and XR and VR are attracting more educators and students than avatar-based worlds. But the two underlying challenges I hear most have to do with feelings, educators' feelings of isolation in virtual online work, and disappointment with students' lack of interest in these spaces beyond the course, or maybe even within the course. So reducing teacher isolation is one real concern, and finding more ways to motivate and engage students is another that seems important for the growth of this kind of virtual education. I've had experience with both of these challenges, which is likely why I chose this compass point. Virtual worlds are filled with potential lifelong learners. For this group, I'll define them as mature people who are willing to learn new technologies to explore immersive online environments in order to expand their knowledge and inner growth. I came into SL and have explored other avatar-populated worlds over the past 10 years because I see their potential for increasing individual and societal well-being. But it hasn't been easy to bring new learners into any of these worlds. Just want to give a few examples. In 2016, I created a course called New Frontiers in Aging under the guidance of Letty Luckstone here at Rockcliffe. I wanted others to discover this potential, so I sent out publicity to the many organizations I belong to outworld, as well as in SL. The learners who took the course and were not SL residents showed in their journals that they made the kind of discoveries the course aimed for. But none of them remained in SL. They told me they felt their life outside was satisfying enough. I tried again in 2017 and 2018 when a computer science professor at a university near me invited me to her class to recruit students. The goal was to teach seniors how to navigate SL. The students learned quickly and were diligent in guiding the seniors I also recruited for this experiment. But once they graduated, the students got jobs and did not return. They did not have any great personal or career need that they felt Second Life would satisfy. However, one of the seniors still comes into SL now to facilitate our Wisdom Circle once a month. She volunteered to do this on her own. She's been doing this for over 3 years now because she finds the conversations in SL with SL residents so rich. She tells me this all the time when I say, why are you continuing to do it? She says she wishes she could spend more time here, but she has a very busy professional life. This is value for her, so it motivates her to continue. However, it is not a need. In January 2021, our WBH team started working with a different learning population, students from a Turkish university's marketing course based on UN sustainability goals. Some of the students from last spring's course have returned either as graduate students who are using SL for their theses or as assistants for following courses. This has happened, I think, because their professor has actively found ways to motivate them. And perhaps because we, the support team, formed relationships with them. That's a question. So perhaps we can think together about more ways to better motivate students. Their interest and commitment could help grow virtual worlds education. For faculty, making it easier to learn from each other in world, which I think the consortium is doing, could help all of us become more creative in our teaching and feel more supported within these rapidly changing environments. So I'm suggesting that there are many ways to address our concerns about the future of education in SL and the Metaverse when we put our heads together and try out new approaches. And I'll just ask, what do you think? We can talk about it later, I think. Now we hear from Dodge with the North Compass Point. What needs to be known? Dodge?
Yes. So I'm addressing what needs to be known to best advocate teaching and learning in virtual environments. In my many years of working in education in virtual worlds, I have heard many people comment that they cannot get others at their institution to come into a virtual world and use it as a teaching tool. Colleagues find that people say they will come in and then they do not. When one comes in, they often do not return. As a result, the percent of instructors active in virtual worlds at any institution of higher learning is extremely low. It's often just one or two individuals. Thus, in my opinion, the main thing that needs to be known is how do we excite faculty about the opportunities available in virtual worlds for enhancing their courses, and how do we reduce the learning curve enough that they quickly become comfortable working with their students in a virtual world, a process we call onboarding. I manage the Second Life program for the Northern Virginia Community College called NOVA. For years, we ran workshops where faculty came to the NOVA region to learn a bit about teaching in Second Life. Many of them spent their time modifying their avatar or clothes. Others found out they could fly and flew around the region. But they also bumped into walls, fell off the sidewalks, fell out of the air, struggled to open a door, and had trouble communicating. All problems that we had as new residents. And to my dismay, almost none of them continued in Second Life. They saw there was a steep learning curve and did not feel it was worth the effort. It became obvious that I did not know how to onboard faculty, and a new approach was needed. So a new approach was developed, one where faculty do not initially come into Second Life. We start with a workshop. They get a Zoom PowerPoint presentation on the many ways they can use Second Life to make their course fun and exciting while still enhancing learning. When we discuss the five tutorials that we have developed in Second Life to quickly get them to the skill set they need to comfortably be in front of their students. And this is presented by one of the faculty who completed the tutorial training. It is now active in Second Life. At our first workshop, 2 of the 3 participants decided to come into Second Life and completed the tutorials. They are now active in Second Life. We just had a second workshop last Wednesday, and many of the participants said they wanted to do the tutorials. This approach seems to have a much higher success rate. At the VWEC Welcome Plaza, which you'll soon visit, we hope to eventually have a program that provides onboarding tutorials for educators new to Second Life. as well as to work with educators active in Second Life to develop workshops tailored to their institution so they can get colleagues interested in trying SL. Hopefully this will help us know how to increase interest and participation in virtual worlds by other faculty at our institutions of higher learning. And now I'll hand it over to Ellie.
Thank you, Dodge. Let's move to the South Compass Point. What's the current stance? The big move ahead is a make it or break it moment, and will take effort to show those outside of SL the potential here. What have you accomplished in virtual worlds that can be documented and shared? This effort is about community. It is our experience that many groups have found something special about virtual worlds for education and teaching outside of academia and K-12. My expertise is in educational technology, and we look for the most simple technology. We want students to have as quick a road to understanding as possible. Often the technology is not simple, such as virtual worlds, but is more effective. Most of you agree that teaching takes work to work well. My class started last week. It is a graduate class, and after teaching for years, these students are still different from my former students. That's my experience every time, but more so this year. I must be agile. It is a graduate class, and after teaching for years, oh, I'm sorry, I just said that, excuse me. I must be agile to meet them where they are. These students have lived on Zoom for 2 years of their education or work life, or both. I was interested in how different they acted after that experience. They were quick to learn the technology. It was easy for them, and the virtual interaction is also natural. Being avatars that do things is not. They are used to sitting with a camera on them, listening, watching videos, and answering questions. When they got in Second Life, they were excited to run around and have partners and look at things. I had to laugh, as I've never had a class that ran around with their avatars and flew up immediately. It was very exciting. When they saw how simple it was to build, they were excited. They were working on their assignment as I was showing the basics. Already, they had jumped into it. I understand the benefit of using this technology for teaching and learning, and I know you do too. That's why you're here. I've pretty much done this for over 10 years. I've overcome the obstacles by figuring out ways around them. I never dreamed Linden Labs would care what I needed, much less change things. And yet they are. Joining together to share our approaches is natural in teaching. Joining together to solve our problems is also natural and makes us better teachers and a stronger voice. We now have the opportunity to open an educational community sim, the Eduverse, working with Linden Labs. We have heard of the other efforts to bring the education community together. We have great respect for those that came before us and so appreciate the groundwork that they laid. We do feel like this is a make it or break it moment based on the metaverse that exists and is dreamed about, and all the other things that are coming out from our conversations today. We want to hear your stories as well because they are very important. But we figure you want to go have a look. So now let's teleport over to the new VWEC Welcome Plaza. And please remember, this is a work in progress, but you will see that we have started a welcoming space to help promote education and learning in Second Life. So we'll meet you there, and you can explore for a few minutes, and then we'll meet at the fire pit, and we'll take questions there because we want your feedback. So here's the link. We'll meet you there.
So everybody stand up. I'll stay here for just a second, and we will meet at the landing point.
Welcome, welcome. You made it.
We'll just wait here for just a minute until everything reses. And I'll wait for Dodge, who's going to lead us down from the landing point shortly. When things res, you can look around at the landing point, which houses new resident resources, particularly the great orientation gateways that are already built. So we're not reinventing the wheel. Dodge, over to you.
Welcome, everybody. This is the landing site for the Welcome Plaza is what we're calling it. We have quite a few builds here. What you're going to see at the landing site, if you're a brand new resident to Second Life, like you've been in here maybe a day or two at the most, or maybe a few hours, we have a new resident resources area, which is in front of me. It's that building. And so they click on some of these signs and get some note cards that tell them what they're doing. And we talk a little bit about how you move so they don't have to go to a gateway if they don't want to right away, and how to use your camera so they can move in on objects a little easier. But if they decide to go to a gateway, we have teleport portals to for gateways in the back there. And we have a note card that discusses each of those gateways so they can decide where they want to go. So that's for the new residents when they first come in. And if they're not really going to enjoy walking around here because they can't move very well, or they can't move, they don't know how to control their camera, or if they want to go to a gateway and get some more basics training before they come back. This area is a gateway, but it's a gateway for education. It's not a basic gateway for the basics of how to manage yourself in Second Life.